Hey everyone, and welcome back to Joey's Retro Handhelds. I'm Joey, and today we're going to talk about the Retroid Pocket 4 and what you need to know before you buy it. So I purposely waited to do this video because I wanted all of the information out before doing so, and so now that it is, you can have one whole video with everything that you need to know about it, and I'll go over some things that you might have missed, maybe through its Discord or tweets or things like that, and is it still called tweets? I don't know. But in case you haven't been following every single part of this journey, then you might have missed something. So I'm going to go over all of that in this video and help make it easy. Now let's start off with some new information. So in case you've been living under a rock, obviously we're talking here about the Retroid Pocket 4 and the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro. Both of them are going to be on sale starting on December 20th at 8 p.m. Eastern. The 25th of January is when the Retroid Pocket 4 is going to start to ship. And the 15th of January is when the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro is going to start to ship. And pricing wise, we have the Retroid Pocket 4 at $149 plus shipping, and then the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro at $199 plus shipping. Now, something new that you might not know about unless you check the website, there is an actual discount on both models for the first 2 days, it looks like. And you also get a screen protector for free. So doing the same thing they did with the Retroid Pocket 2S with that screen protector, but now you get a discount of, wait for it, $4. So if you order within the first 2 days, an extra $4 off and that screen protector included too. And we'll talk about accessories because the grips will be there as well as the case. And the grips might be a necessity, and we'll talk about that. Okay, so now let's talk about the actual device. And if you've ever had the Retroid Pocket 3 or 3 Plus, then you know what to expect here. It looks like it's basically the exact same dimensions, same size. The only difference is going to be the internals, and it's a bit thicker on the back end. Now, for some of you, that could be a good or a bad thing. For me, not a good thing, because I didn't really like the ergonomics of the 3 or 3 Plus, and I find that it gets a little cramped to use after 30 minutes of use. And so the grip actually becomes a necessity instead of just an add-on. And an easy way for you to just figure this out in case you wanted to, and maybe you're like me and think that a grip might be necessary, do you have a Switch OLED or a Switch? And do you find that to be uncomfortable? Just that flat back and the way that you hold it and all of that for a longer period of time? Because if the answer is yes, then you should 100% get a grip here, and it'll be a lot better for you in the comfort zone, because I don't find the 3 Plus to be comfortable, and this doesn't look like it changed anything on that front. They didn't really add any ergonomics to speak of. It's the same sort of design. Now let's talk about what's actually changed here. What's new, why you should be excited for this, and all of that. The big thing here is the $149 model has the D900 Dimensity chip, and that's the same one that was in the Odin Lite. So if you want to know how that's going to perform, check out videos on the Odin Lite, and that'll give you an idea. The Retroid Pocket 4 is the Dimensity D1100 chip, and that one we don't have a lot of information on right now. However, you can kind of glean a little bit from how the Pocket Air does with the D1200. And the basic idea is the Retroid Pocket 4 is going to have a little bit of an issue doing the entire catalog of GameCube and PS2. So you'll still have to use hacks, you might still have to use PAL ROMs in some scenarios. You might have to do all of that. But the D1100, the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, should be able to do all of that no problem as far as native. So PS2, GameCube, native emulation should be more than fine. And we'll come back to which one I think is the better of the two, but just off the bat right there, that $50 actually might be worth spending just so that you don't have to fool around with any settings and basically just boot up games and play. Now, another thing that they're carrying over from the 3 Plus is the screen. It's the exact same screen that was on there. And to me, this is a good decision because there was nothing wrong with that screen. It's a really nice one. And to just say use the same parts here and all of that, then this is a good decision and you shouldn't be unhappy with this at all. Something else they're going to be carrying over is the ABXY buttons, the D-pad, and the sticks from the 2S. And that's a really good decision because the buttons there were great. The sticks there were great, and obviously the D-pad is fantastic. So good to see that on this model here specifically. One thing they're not carrying over from the 2S is the front-firing speakers. And that part is a bit of a miss because that should just be a standard here, especially when they have it on their budget model, but it's not. So again, if we're going to go over just negatives of this device, I really only have two. First one is the comfort of their design, and the second one is the front-firing speakers. But the rest of this device just makes up for it in entirety, that those cons aren't really major, unless you're me and you really like comfort. Some other things to talk about here, there's active cooling, and you'll be able to turn the fan off, so you don't actually need to use the fan, and that'll be what I'm going to do, unless it's just extremely quiet like it is in the Odin 2. And I'm guessing they're probably going to use the same parts as it's in the Odin 2, so it might actually just be quiet. And the other thing is the battery is a 5,000 milliamp battery. Now, while it isn't as large as the Odin 2 is, it should still be really good for battery life. And even Retroid themselves said that you should get about 2.5 to 3 hours playing God of War at a 2x resolution and maxed everything, just to give you an idea. Now, some other things to talk about because you might have missed it. The Retroid Pocket 4 is Android 11, Retroid Pocket 4 Pro is Android 13. So right off the bat, the 4 is going to be behind on software updates and being compatible with the newest and greatest. And if that matters to you, you might just want to jump to the Pro. We'll talk about that in a little bit because in my mind, I don't think there's a reason to even look at the 4. Just jump right to the 4 Pro, but we'll get into that. Another difference between the two, if you were looking at doing HDMI to a TV, or well, not HDMI, but if you wanted to do video out to a TV, the Retroid Pocket 4 can only do 720p over the USB-C, whereas the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro can do 1080p over DisplayPort. That's just another big difference between the two. Then, of course, we have the rest, and I'm not going to go through all of the specs here. You can look at it on the website, but the Wi-Fi 6, the Bluetooth 5.2, and all of that fun stuff. So there really isn't anything missing from this device. You can pretty much jump in and have a really good time playing a lot of games. So let's do this. Let's talk about the Retroid Pocket 4 versus the Retroid Pocket 4 Pro, and just my general thoughts on the two and which one you should go for and all of that. So for me, and I'm not getting a review unit, so I'm in the same boat as everybody else. The difference is I'm going to be ordering both models to do comparisons and all of that fun stuff. If I was just Joey, random person, going to be buying this device, I would go straight for the 4 Pro, and the 4 would never even cross my mind. And there's a reason for that. The 4 is not going to do the full catalog of GameCube and PS2. You're going to have to do some hacks, you're going to have to do some setting changes, you're going to have to do all of that. In my mind, no matter what percentage that is that it can do better than, let's say, the 3 Plus, it's still the same sort of category. You're still not making that generational jump. So whereas you have the 2S that can do some GameCube, some PS2 and all of that, and the 3 Plus is the same boat, you want to be able to just jump to the next tier. Because if you just get the 4 and you had an issue with just compatibility on the 2S or the 3 Plus for those games, you're going to be in the same boat. You're going to run into some games where you're just like, why didn't I just buy the Pro? And so that's where I come from. I've always, in all of my videos, gone for the value pick as far as I want this device to do everything that I want it to do. So I'm not buying this from a price perspective. I'm buying it from a what Joey wants it to do perspective. And I think that's how you should look at devices. And I know everybody has budgetary constraints and all of that, but for an extra $50 over the 4, it's going to make sense to grab the 4 Pro. And that's without talking about the extra RAM, the better ability for display out, and all of the other benefits that come with the 4 Pro. It just makes more sense. And especially if you want to do any sort of switch, you're going to want the 4 Pro. Again, I would highly, highly suggest at this price point to just jump to the 4 Pro and grab that. And even the Retroid Pocket Twitter supports this by their poll that they did, and most people went for the 4 Pro. It just makes the most sense, and I suggest you stick with that. So all in all, that's my full thoughts on these devices. I told you I'm going to buy both of them. If you want Joey's opinion, I probably wouldn't have bought either of them, in my honest opinion. And that's just because I didn't like the 3 Plus. I didn't find it comfortable, and for me, comfort is everything. So I have an Odin 2 that covers all of my needs for this. I have a Retroid Pocket Flip. I have the 2S. I have all of these other devices There isn't anything that this does specifically that other devices don't. The only difference is it's now in a different price category than other devices were. So it is a really good price point and it is a really good purchase for those that like the 3 Plus and like that shell and all of that, because that's exactly what you're going to get here. For the rest of us that don't like that flat body, don't like the ergonomics, don't like the comfort and all of that, this might not be the best decision for you and you might not like it. But like I said before, if you have a Switch, try and think through that. Do you like it without a grip? Because that's what you're going to get here. So long story short, and I want to wrap this up because it's becoming a little too long, this is a good device to purchase. I don't see any real negatives here. Most of this is all known quantities. We know what we're getting. So you can feel safe in placing this order. I just wanted to give you a lot of information that you might have missed through different means and get it all in one video just to help me make a decision. So that's going to be it for this one. Hope you liked the video, and just one parting thought. If you're Canadian, do not buy the DHL shipping option. You're going to get charged duties and all of that, and it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. Stick with 4PX. It'll be 2 weeks and under for delivery, and you'll save yourself a ton of money. Don't forget to like and sub to help the channel grow, and hope you all have a good one.